What's going on, everybody? This video is to help you go from designing in Fusion and then bringing your designs into the slicer we use here at Stafford called Cura. This is so that you can 3D print or use the CNC machine. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the 3D printer as most of you will be using that most of the time. A couple of things you want to think about before you even try and slice this, or in other words, take it from Fusion and put it here into Cura. You want to make sure that you've got your units correct. Make sure your scale is correct. You do have the option to change the scale here in Cura, but the problem is it's not accurate. You're only doing it by percentages, whereas in Fusion, you're able to be much more precise. So before you get anything going in the Cura slicer software, make sure that you've got your design pretty much done. So let's go ahead and imagine that you've got your part designed here and you are ready to try and 3D print this thing. Remember, always double check your settings that your units were what you wanted before you get started. That's right here in the browser. Then, when you are good to go, you're gonna go ahead up to File, head down to Export, and first of all, make sure that you've selected STL file. You're often gonna start as an F3D file, and you're gonna need to scroll down in order to find STL. So that's first things first. I've now chosen that. Now the location, you choose a file or a folder or however it is you want to do it. I have a folder stored here on my desktop called 3D Prints, and I've stored this one right here as Toy Block. And so I'll just go ahead and say Toy Block Test, just so that you see it pop up in this folder. So now I'm going to go ahead and export. And now I can open that in the location. And we can see right here that that file is now saved for me here in my folder. Now you do want to double check that you know where this is going. Just like when you take screenshots on your Chromebook and you can't find them, make sure that you choose a location that makes sense to you. Another thing, if you are worried about losing this file, save it to your Google Drive. I have my Google Drive attached right to my file browser here. But if you need to, just go into your drive and upload this file. If it's something you worked really hard on, you definitely want to make sure that you don't lose it. Okay, now that you got your file exported to the folder that you want it in, let's go ahead and open up the slicer software. Easiest way to do it is come down here to the search bar and just type in Cura. I know that you saw it on there for mine already, but if you can't find it, the easiest way is to use that search bar. So I'm going to go ahead and click Ultimaker Cura. When you first open this up, it might ask you to make a profile. You don't have to, you can skip all that. I believe it will be on the bottom right-hand corner of the window. So if you don't want to make a profile, you don't have to, and you just skip through that because all we're going to be using here is a USB. So come on up here to where it's got this little folder icon. You're going to click that folder icon, and let's imagine that it starts you from home. I have mine stored on the desktop. You might have yours in desktop or documents, excuse me. And so I'll click through here. Remember, you, as a good student would, you kept track of where you're saving all your files. I have mine saved in 3D Prints, and I have mine as Toy Block Test in my examples. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click that. And what do you know? It looks like this is too big. Take a look down here. Sometimes it will auto scale what you want. I double checked like my instructor told me to if my units were correct, and it still seems like my piece is too big. Now, in order to avoid this, go ahead and click on your object, and that's gonna open up a toolbar on your left-hand side. This second one down is gonna be scale, and I just want this to be, instead of 10,000, which is for some reason an AI doing something dumb, what do you know? I'm gonna set this back to 100%. And now I can see that that is actually the size that I designed in Fusion. Ooh, ew. Now it's actually the size I designed it in Fusion. That is the real size, but I'm gonna blow this up just a little bit because we have this example that we're going to be using here. So I'm going to set this as 300%. Remember, that's not super accurate. This is just to make it visually easier for you to see. Now, a couple things to be considering while you are working here. This Lego piece, which is often my students' first choice to make in design, it's got these cylinders on the inside. You can imagine that if I wanted to print this, it would make it tough to remove any support material in here, right? This is not going to levitate like we're in Minecraft. It's going to need to create supports here. So I'm going to think about a way, and this is your engineering brain at work, is how can I get this thing to print most efficiently? And there are any number of ways of doing it, and I'll leave that up to you. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just take this twisting tool here, this rotate tool, and you'll notice that I can rotate it upon the X, Y, and Z axis. I'm going to go ahead and just place it on those cylinders that stick out at the bottom. Now you can see that only the little parts in red here are the only support material that's going to need to be formed. It's going to be efficient when I go to print this thing, right? And so when I look at this, looks pretty good. I think this is going to be pretty efficient. And so I'm going to go ahead and say I'm ready to go here. Now, I'm going to slice this to do it with normal settings. As you can see, it literally says normal settings here. But if you're somebody who's starting to really get into things and you want to know how to adjust these print settings, go ahead and do some research as to how you can figure out to generate support, how you can figure out how fast this is, what is the appropriate setting for speed. What about printing temperature or the build plate temperature? There's any number of things that you can change here. I'm gonna go ahead and just for this simple, easy example, choose normal for now, but I encourage you to take a peek at things inside these print settings. That's for a different time though. And another one quick note is I got just one extruder enabled and the second extruder I have turned off. It's because this natural PVA is just a tough material to work with. So again, for simplicity's sake, we're gonna go ahead and just print with one extruder. So I'll slice this thing up, and now you'll see that it wants to save to disk. You can save to disk, that's fine. But ultimately, you're gonna wanna save this on a USB stick or drive. Now, that might be one of my USB drives, or it might be one of your own. But that will pop up here on the left-hand side where you see local disk, Google Drive, or anything else your computer might have. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just put it in the same file I had before in my desktop, 3D prints, and in examples. And you'll notice that this is going to say UM S7 or Ultimaker S7 toy block test. I'm going to save it. And now I can open it up in that folder. And what do you know? There's my Cura file ready to go. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the USB into this computer and then transfer this file that I just prepared in Cura onto this USB and then into the 3D printer. So first things first, go ahead and pop that into the computer. It's probably gonna show up right here as your USB drive. And I'm gonna go ahead and just to make it easier for you to see, I'll delete these files that were there. I'm gonna go ahead and just click and drag my file of the UMS7 toy block test into the USB drive. And now you'll see, and I'll blow that up for you to be able to see. Now you can see I've copied this file over to my USB drive and I'm ready to go. So before removing the USB from the actual computer, go ahead and just close these all down. And now I'm gonna remove this from the computer. Now I've got my USB, now we're ready to go. Let's go pop it into this here Ultimaker. So you can see on the bottom left-hand side of the machine, you've got your your USB slot, and as you put the USB in, you saw automatically a small blue dial popped in. So I'll go ahead and click select from USB, select from USB, and there's my UMS7 toy block test. And then I'll be able to start my print right there. I'm not gonna do so because I don't wanna actually waste any material, but there you have it. It's as simple as that. As long as you keep track of your files and as long as you make sure you know where everything is, should be pretty straightforward.